Like, so often, it's not just ideology, it's class. Like, so often, Jimmy, the class factor in journalism gets overlooked.
Yes, yes.
You know, 30 or 40 years ago, 50 years ago, journalists were outsiders. That's why they all had unions. They made shit money. They came from like working class families.
Reporters, when I was growing up, they came from a different class of people than they do today. They were, a lot of them were kind of more working class. Like they were more likely, their parents were more likely to be plumbers or electricians than they were to be doctors or lawyers.
They hated the elite.
Yes.
They hated bankers and politicians. Those are like, you know, it was kind of like a boss-employee relationship.
Reporters basically just instinctively hated rich people. They hated powerful people. Like if you put up a poster of a politician in a newsroom, it was defaced instantaneously. Like there were darts on it, you know.
They hated them. They wanted to throw rocks at them and take them down pegs.
The reporters saw it as their job to stick it to the man, right? Like that was the attitude.
If I were to list like the 20 richest people I've ever met in my entire life, I think like 7 or 8 of them are people I met because they work at The Intercept. People from like the richest fucking families on the planet.
This thing where, you know, the journalist is an Ivy League grad, that's a relatively new thing that I think came about in the 70s and 80s with my generation.
Kayla Lacey, the one who just tried to destroy Lee Feng's reputation as a racist, Lee was raised in a mixed race, working class neighborhood in Brooklyn, in Baltimore. Kayla went to one of those prep schools like Taylor Lorenz, who was educated in a boarding school in Switzerland, that cost $60,000 a year.
That mode of understanding the job to be that and being willing to take all the crap that comes with it, it used to be, I think, standard in the profession. And I don't really see that so much anymore.
Who the fuck can afford $60,000 a year to send your kid to like 8th grade? I didn't even know those schools existed when I was growing up.
The fantasy among reporters in the 90s about politicians started to be, I want to be the person who hangs out with the candidate after the speech and has a beer and is sort of close to power.
So much of this is about this. Like the stuff where the damage happens with Antifa or the people who would suffer from defund the police aren't them. Their families would pay for private security. They put them in co-ops that are very protected.
And that's kind of the model. That's where we're at right now. That's kind of the problem is that basically people in the business want to be behind the rope line with people of influence.
The people who are suffering are in the neighborhoods that they never go into. And this class function, this class attribute of national media, not local media, but national media, is the reason why they like to put everything through the identity politics framework, where they get to be oppressed because they're African American or, you know, Hispanic or LGBT or whatever, but their parents work, you know, for Goldman Sachs or at like big law firms or are billionaire hedge fund managers.
And you know, it's going to be a problem trying to get us back to other adversarial posture.
So they don't want to talk about class because if they did, it would be revealed that the real ones drowning in privilege are them, not the people they're accusing of being privileged.